Welcome, wanderers. Come on, step away from the blinding light and gather close to the shadows. Today, our explainer takes a descent into the dark. I am your guide, speaking to you with the weary, ancient voice of a forest spirit, one that's older than the stones of your grandest buildings. We're exploring the parables of cynical sovereignty. Think of this as a grim, Gothic fable wrapped in Nietzschean philosophy. We'll use these visions to guide our descent into the human soul. So settle in. The truths we uncover today, well, they're not exactly polite. Do you truly believe the masks you wear in your cities of stone? You sit there, comfortable in your safe, logic-driven lives, constructing these grand moral frameworks just to convince yourselves you're civil, ordered, and good. But what happens when that illusion shatters? What happens when you finally realize the civilization you've built is just a desperate attempt to ignore the wild, untamed reality of existence? Let's follow a man who found out the hard way. Act 1. The Sterile City's Edge. Our protagonist here is the sage. He wears what we'll call the golden mask of intellectual virtue, basically shielding himself from the primal groan of the earth. But today, he leaves the safety of his stone and steel to follow a beast, the hound, deep into the ancient woods. We're contrasting two very different worlds here. See, the sage comes from the city of mirrors. In his city, every smooth pane of glass, every paved road, it's all designed to reflect human ego. You only ever encounter your own rules. But stepping into the forest, that is a violent shift. It's like walking blindly, face first, into an ancient jagged oak tree in the pitch black. That oak doesn't care about your ego. It doesn't move. It is wild, immovable reality. This visual metaphor, the sterile urban landscape versus the untamed wilderness, is absolutely crucial to our fable. And that brings us to a vital philosophical anchor for this explainer, the Anstoß. The Anstoß is the unyielding limit of reality. It's that jagged oak tree I just mentioned. It's a reality that completely refuses to be reduced to an administered zero, just another mere data point in the sage's perfectly logical world. No, it is the unconquerable not I. It is the wild forest that doesn't wait for your permission to exist, and in a single brutal moment, it completely shatters your arrogant, vertical claim on significance. As they cross the tree line, the sterile scaffolding of the sage's logic begins to tremble. The hound turns to him, exhaling this volcanic mist born of the somatic unconscious, the raw, physical truth of the body. The beast barks a bitter diatribe. You think your poor reason can categorize these shadows? The hound is mocking the sage's fragile intellect here, because out in this forest, his spreadsheets and moral philosophies, they're completely useless. Which leads us deeper into the thicket to Act 2, the starving psychic void. This is where the shadows twist into something truly horrifying. The sage and the hound encounter spirits made of identical vacancy. And the sage, foolishly, reaches for his logical ledgers. He literally tries to record this nightmare with effortless efficiency on dry parchment. But he's met with the wisdom of the blood, the visceral Dionysian hunger of what Nietzsche would call the great reason of the body. You just cannot write down the dark, violent, physical pull of a psychic vacuum. The hound's eyes flare like twin embers of judging red. He looks at the sage's ledgers, then at the vacant spirits, and delivers this absolutely scathing realization. You provide a full stomach to mask an absolute vacuum, yet you dare to call this peace. You see, the sage optimized the masses in his city. He gave them comfort, safety, mindless consumption, but he left them spiritually famished. He hollowed them out, creating a void that now has teeth. Act 3. Wisdom of the blood. From a jagged fissure in the forest floor, the earth splits open, and something incredibly ancient emerges. The red spirit coalesces, literally vibrating with the raw color of blood. It stands upon the bones of the question's corpse, looking down at the trembling sage. The spirit exposes the sage's intellectual virtue as a masquerade of the hollow. Your morality, the spirit hisses, is not goodness at all. It's merely a defense mechanism. It's the ultimate cowardice, just a way to pretend you have control over the chaos you're far too weak to master. Let's dwell on this bitter truth for a second. The sage used his poor reason to build his ivory tower way up above the cloud line, desperately trying to escape the messy reality of human suffering. But below him, the biological chaos of the blood raged on. And let's be clear, it is the only thing that is real in this uncanny realm. The sage thought he was achieving peace, but now the wind of his own emptiness just howls through his very bones. His logical avoidance was really just a symptom of his decaying vitality. The truth shatters him. Act 4, the solitary, cynical throne. The painful fragmentation begins. The sage's poor reason collapses entirely under the weight of gravity, the truest, most unforgiving philosopher of them all. He finally realizes his kingdom, his very soul, is a frozen, empty wasteland. So what does he do? Does he repent? Does he seek redemption? Or try to build a warming fire? No, he doesn't hopelessly try to build a fire in the void. Instead, he takes a blade and he carves a crown out of the ice itself. This is the dark apotheosis of our tale, cynical sovereignty. The sage doesn't seek redemption for his hollow nature. He leans right into it. He achieves absolute power by becoming the void. He takes all his repressed poison, his resentment, his emptiness, and instead of letting it consume him, he converts it into a private weapon. It is the ultimate terrible exercise of the will to power. He completely rejects traditional morality in favor of pure self-sovereignty. So how exactly is this dark sovereignty achieved? Through the alchemical dance. Step 1. Trade your soul for effortless efficiency, emptying yourself entirely. 2. Convert your repressed chaos into poison. 3. Steal the dragon's fire, meaning harness the raw, untamed power of the Ontos, that unconquerable not I. And 4. Forge a terrifying new mask. Not a mask of false virtue this time, but a mask of absolute chilling authority. The transformation is complete. The sage turns back toward the city gates, but he is no longer the man who left. He is a unified subject, his eyes now as cold as steel. He isn't returning to the city of stone to save the spiritually famished masses. No, he is returning to rule them. He will dominate their emptiness with his own perfected void. The final soliloquy. I, the ancient spirit of the forest, will step back into the shadows now. I ask you to listen closely to the inner monologue of the sage himself as he finally accepts his hollow nature. I built my tower to escape the mess, he whispers to the biting wind. I surrounded myself with glass and ledgers to reflect a perfection that never existed. But the void was always within. My effortless efficiency was the rot that ate my soul. I see it now, he says, staring at his trembling, bloodless hands. My ledgers cannot hold the biological chaos of the blood. The sterile scaffolding of my morality has completely collapsed. So I will not record the darkness anymore. I reject the pity of the weak. I reject the illusions of the city. I will wear it. Let the wind of my own emptiness howl through my bones. I do not fear it anymore. I command it. This psychic vacuum is no longer my weakness. It is the breath of absolute power. I am the sovereign of the hollow. And the voice of the sage fades into the biting chill of the air. I, your weary forest guide, return to leave you with this final observation. The sage has achieved his cynical sovereignty. He rules a dead kingdom from a solitary throne, perfectly empty, perfectly powerful. It's a tragic, terrifying apotheosis. So I leave you with this final provocation. As you return to your own lives, your own sterile scaffolding, look in the mirror. In your city of mirrors, are you truly trying to build a fire of meaning? Or, in your desperate avoidance of reality, are you just carving a crown of ice? Thank you for wandering into the dark with me today on this explainer. Until next time, beware the woods.